Can't hear you.
And we're back.
Hello.
Hi. So I hope you guys all enjoyed the first part of the show. We're going to continue on a little bit with conversation in our after hours. Everybody had a moment to kind of to speak on their mind before the break, and I'm just going to take a quick minute and express my mind. The only thing I want to add to this is that all I hope that we get out of this show for the people that are watching is that there are the people out there that are continuing the message in the wrong way that women and girls can't be flag carriers and they're just sex objects, and maybe they do it in a direct avert fashion, that's directly what they said, and sometimes they do it inadvertently because that's what they've been kind of programmed by society to express and to think. And all I want to do is maybe create a few more people who are more aware that message is out there, and and challenge it and say, no, woman can be a main raid tank, she can be a flag carrier, she can do whatever she wants to do in gaming and in life in general. And if we can get a few more people on that side, including amongst ourselves, like being even more of those type of people, the better. So with that said, I think that Flatus was talking about how he's not like, there's how he expresses himself sometimes on the show, and that's not really him, and he's learning to be better. Chad said the same thing, and I have to say the same thing. I wish that I was there during that live stream that we showed you the video of, because I would have said something, but I actually caught that because I was watching it later on. But I'm going to try and do that more. I'm going to try and see if I see people talking about that, I'm going to challenge myself to basically confront that and be like, what do you mean? That's not right. Because I know I'm not perfect. I let things slide, and at the same time, I'm not so perfect myself in that, and this isn't like because the other player is a woman or whatever, but like, when they're talking about the theme park games where you play the game, you get on the ride and you go, and there's like, this is the way you ride this ride, and if you deviate, people get upset with you, right? It's like yo noob, don't you know this fight?
They exclude you completely. Yeah.
And I know that I can be elitist, and Kai calls me on it, and that's one of the reasons I love having her around, is she calls me when I'm getting a little bit of that elitist attitude, because I don't want to be elitist. I want to be, part of the welcoming crowd. Like, hey, dude, if you want me to walk you through it, if you think you got it, whatever. It's just a video game. What do I care?
So I'm gonna stand on my soapbox for a second too, because and I'm gonna have to apologize, because when the guys started talking about specific people being pretty, I joined them. I did.
Was this the night that we were watching the music videos? Or
no, I'm talking about
so we've done this on multiple occasions.
On the show when Flata said that Luperza was pretty, and I was like, I was at the really hot purple-haired chick. It was completely wrong for me to word it that way. And while I agree that she's very pretty, and that's probably part of the reason she gets the attention that she gets, she's also really good at what she does. And the fact that I said she's really pretty before I said that she does great with her job, I just diminished her in the exact same way that I object to the people diminishing me for being a woman who also plays video games.
For sure.
And it wasn't right.
Yeah. Let's talk about this. What it means to be that figurehead in the industry. What it means to be the woman in the industry. Because I'm pretty sure, just like gamers, it's been predominantly male when it comes to the gaming industry. Now, this has changed over time. Sony Online's great at kind of reversing this a little bit, because there's a lot of women that work there. I don't know the percentage, but there's a lot. But you see the same kind of thing happen where they're sort of subjugated based on their beauty, Luperza, just to discuss her without going too in-depth because she's not here or anything like that, but she started off as a game designer. She was a gamer. That's all she was. Then she started streaming on her own. Then, all of a sudden, she's no longer a designer. She's on the community team. She's doing live streams and stuff like that. I wonder why that happened.
She's good at it.
She is good at it. But is she also because she's an attractive face? And then is she kind of stuck in this role now? We don't know. Yeah, we don't know. But I think this is something we can look at and kind of criticize. Are certain people in certain places because they're put there, or because it's what they want to do? You see that across industry, especially with women.
I think that this is really potentially a very dangerous thing to tread on, strictly because she's not here and we don't know exactly what her role with Sony is.
You have a point.
However,
we talk about a more broad, just look at like the newscasters on the media, right? On all your major news stations in any city in the world. And who do they have telling you the news right next to an older guy who can speak with authority? They have a pretty face. And and that way we don't have to, talk about one specific person that we may or may not know the details of. Let's just put that out there as a general. Do you think that's because they is that what people expect, or is that because what, the metrics say people want?
I'm sure it's both. I'm sure it's what the people I'm sure it's because of what the people who are making the show expect, and then I'm sure it's what the metrics say afterwards. People like pretty people. When you turn on the TV, you want something that's interesting for you to look at. Now, we cannot say that everything is sort of one way, that this is what is appealing, but there's research that's chosen that says, hey, these people like this person, and that's our audience, so let's try and capture that. But the problem is here, Daniel, I think this is what you're about to touch on right now. Or maybe you're not going to touch on it, I don't know.
No, I was going to go into, at my lunch, we only have one station on the TV at my break room, and they play CNN, right? And so CNN every day for the last month has been covering the Malaysian Flight 370 crash, right? And after 3 weeks of coverage and no news on that crash, CNN had they came on and they're like, the polls say that this is what people want to hear. I'm like, well, come on now. I mean, this is what you're showing them. And now the polls are saying, I mean, what is, I doubt that really.
The woman called him out and the guy got defensive. Oh, you need to calm down.
That was a different show. I'm just talking.
Oh, okay.
Oh, well, that stuff has happened though, big time.
Yeah, right. But I'm just saying that if you're going to poll your audience and they're going to tell you, I mean, I don't think that it's fair. I don't think that CNN can objectively, whatever,
or objectify the women.
And then when they come back from their polls and be like, well, listen, this is what people say they want to hear about. They want to hear about the Flight 370. It's like, well, have you told them anything else that they might have wanted to hear about? And if you haven't, then do you really know do they even know that they would rather have heard about some other news? And this is the whole time, earlier in the month, that was right after Russia invaded the Ukraine. And I know this is going outside of gaming, but it is talking about this specific phenomenon we're talking about here. It's like, well, you could have been talking about that, and maybe then people would have been saying hey, no, we wanted to hear a little bit more about that than
You're right. As an intern in a news station for the past, 4 months in the marketing and promotion sector, I've done a lot of review of ratings, and I've sat through many meetings of how those ratings directly affect the message. As marketing promotions, we actually sit through multiple meetings with the news team about what they're running. We choose what is best for us to promote, and then we encourage them to do those stories over the others. It's part of the job in that regards, because we're trying to capture the greatest audience. But this comes with very negative results in the fact that we often agenda set, and we portray certain stories and certain opinions over and over and over again. And once one news station carries it, the others carry it. And that's a direct correlation to how effective these mass media messages can be. And the same thing results in gaming. We can talk about some community things that happened. We can talk about Penny Arcade. It's the same kind of thing. We can discuss, oh, look at this joke that happened, but then look at this giant thing that happened afterwards, and how easy it was able to reach a vast amount of people to where it became sort of a norm and something that people are talking about on a daily basis. You have to be very careful with this kind of thing. You have to be very careful about what kind of message you're sending, and you have to be very careful about why you're doing it. Are you doing it for pure profit? Well, you do have to pay the bills. let's be honest, you know, if I put that pretty woman next to that man, well, then I get more money, so it's helping me pay the bills. But at the same time, when am I taking it too far? When am I objectifying that woman to be a role because she's making me profit? I'm sure, like, maybe that could be something that's dated today, at least in far of, you know, the people who might have opposite opinions that I do. But personally, I don't think that's something that's dated. I think women still have a lot of barriers that they have to overcome in the work industry, especially when that company is ran by men and when the majority of directors are men. You know, because from what I've seen, they have very strict opinions about certain things, and they're born with a certain attitude, and society reinforces that attitude over time to where they become their role.
You're not born with a specific attitude, you learn it. You
learn it within like the first 6 months of you being alive, to the point you're like, what, 4 or 5, they say. So you're not born with it, but come on, that's pretty much born with it. You're not going to gain any other opinion. I mean, there's no other reason for you at that time to have a different opinion, because you're still with your parents. So I say born. But anyways, I see no reason why the gaming industry wouldn't have this same kind of barrier for women, and I think that's a great example for you to bring up, Tamil, with news, because every single news anchor that is a woman in my job is absolutely beautiful. They're gorgeous. Sits right next to and she sits right next to an older authoritative man.
Right.
And they're encouraged to wear very tight, revealing clothing, because that's what sells.
I've had people that are, again, will not list names, outright tell me I need to wear makeup on the show, and I have had them tell me that I need to wear lower cut shirts on the show.
You caught me, by the way. You can name me, it's okay.
Fine. I was told by Shalino to wear makeup on the show.
No, it was the lower cut shirts.
No, you told me to wear makeup too.
Oh, because her makeup was beautiful. Let's put this into context before it goes any further. That was such a bad joke on my part. She has very pretty makeup when she does it. So I was saying, well, why don't you do it? Because she likes to do it. Don't let her mend your little mind over there. She enjoys putting on makeup. But that's not the point. Go ahead.
That's actually really not fair. I wear makeup because it's a societal standard for women.
Well, maybe that's why you started wearing makeup. But do you not enjoy putting on makeup sometimes and making yourself all pretty? You said, yeah.
I'm pretty without my makeup. Fuck
Fair
you.
enough. But do you enjoy putting on makeup and
not
making
at all.
yourself artistic?
No.
Really?
No.
You don't like? Okay.
I don't wear
let's
high
bring
heels.
it further.
I absolutely refuse to wear high heels.
What about?
You used to, didn't you?
I did used to. And then Tamlin is the one that pointed out to me that women look absolutely ridiculous in high heels, and I started watching the way that women walk in high heels. And oh my God, he was absolutely right. Why do I want to walk like a lumbering lumberjack? I'm not going to walk like that, and that's exactly how I walk when I wear high heels.
Yeah, I mean, the most ridiculous thing that I've seen is blue jeans and high heels walking on a broken sidewalk on the side of the road. Like, why? Take them off.
Don't tell me it's a cop-out because I wear makeup because it's a societal standard.
It is kind of a cop-out because you still choose to do it. I mean, sure, I'm not saying that's a complete cop-out, because many times you're expected to wear makeup. Like, if you went into a job interview and you weren't all prettied up, I'm sure that they'd have a different opinion than someone if you didn't come in, then they'd have a different opinion than someone who did come in, and then you'd have this negative stereotype attributed to you.
Because there is, and I'm going to be blunt again, being a plus-size, non-traditional, pretty woman, going into an interview or any other thing where I need to look professional and businesslike, not wearing makeup doesn't work.
Yeah. Coda says that I'm wearing makeup. I am wearing makeup right now. I have an insane gash right here. It's not a pimple. I don't know what happened. I was drunk. So I put cover up on it. And I did under my bags too, because it looks like I'm malnutrition from all the stress. So yes, I'm wearing makeup right now, and it's to appeal. I'm going to be open about that. Men wear makeup too. I am wearing a little bit of makeup. Yeah, it's not like a giant foundation around my face, but right here and a little under my eyes. Yeah.
I shave my head.
Have you all ever done that before?
Well, I'm a man of routine. I like to do things on routine. The Sunday that we do the show is the Sunday I shave my head, and I make sure that I shave my face before the show. I don't know, is that, I mean, are we talking about the same level, or is this, just,
Everyone wants to look nice, okay? But I think it is the same level because it's society that encourages us to look a certain way, So yeah, I think
I
we're kind of
look
on the same
prettier
level.
with makeup. I guess that's my confession. I feel like I look prettier with makeup. So I'm getting called out pretty strongly. And no, I wear it for two reasons. One, there is a societal standard where if you're a female, you're taught how to wear your makeup. If you were a Girl Scout in the late 80s and early 90s like I was, there was an effing makeup badge. You
Damn.
learned
That's a damn shame.
how to wear makeup. I'm not even kidding. So we are trained to a degree to wear it. So part of it is societal, part of it is personal, and so whatever. And yes, I have a picture of Talon and eyeliner.
So he has worn makeup and was lying
I have
to me.
worn eyeliner. Well, yeah, because I was, we talked about it on the show before that I was a gothic punk growing up, and so I did. I wouldn't. I mean, but and again, I dyed my hair black. I grew it long, and then I shaved the sides off, and then I did all sorts of crazy stuff. It was definitely not because it was the expected society standard. And even in the scene that I was part of, it was a little outside of the norm. But I don't know.
I've had makeup put on me, but I was always a forward-thinking man, so I didn't really care.
What's weird is that I am so anti, if somebody else wants to put makeup on me, because we're drunk and at a party or whatever, I'm like, hell no,
I've never been drunk. I think I was sober, and I was like, all right, just don't stab me in the eye with that pencil. So it's pretty much that. But I want to go back real quick to what Chad was saying about like how parents kind of influence your mindset early on. My parents, and I love my mom and dad. They're separated, and I love them. But my parents spent more time concentrating on their marriage than my brother and I growing up. So they neglected, my brother and I emotionally. They were there, like they weren't like, they fed us and stuff. It's not like we were malnutritioned or anything like that.
But they were absentee parents.
They were absentee parents. So a lot of it growing up, I was like, TV was my babysitter, and books were my babysitter, and video games were my babysitter. And so my way of the world, my way of thinking came from myself. I taught myself how to think, and I think I turned out pretty okay. Even though like I've said, I apologize for making those jokes. I'm really not that person. And up until when I moved out or kicked out of the house, and I've been living on my own since now. It's going to be almost 10 years. So I think I turned out pretty okay because like I've said, I treat women like they're people, and I think even
we are.
You are. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that, and like that's what I look for in a woman. Is a person, and Tobin and I actually one night we were talking about that, and somebody had asked, what do you guys look for in women? And Tobin and I, surprisingly, Tobin and I had the same answer. It's, we were like, it doesn't matter what they look like, as long as the person on the inside is a good person, then that's really what matters most. And I was surprised because Tobin is 18, and I good old Tobin, and I will give Tobin props here because for an 18-year-old, he's got a good head on his shoulder, and I got to give him credit where credit's due, because for him to say, I don't care about the looks, I care about the person, for an 18-year-old, it surprised me. And he was, I don't want to go into his personal life, but he's a child of the internet as well. And he's, 10 years younger than me, but he's my best friend, so.
My 14-year-old says the exact same thing about women too. Doesn't care what they look like. It's just if they're a nice person or not.
And they have
Yeah.
to.
Yeah, it's always a plus. Always a plus.
Everyone has
No, yeah, and
has
you'll
opinions.
you hear me say, like I've said it a couple of times, like the family that raids together stays together. Like I'm second generation gamer. My dad and my mom, I mentioned on the show, they're both playing Landmark. My dad was where is it at? He was asking me about the build it in Landmark. Like, did I see what I did? Did I like it? So I've kind of grown up with that. But I definitely that's one of the things that I look for. Is she a gamer? Not how does she look or what are dimensions? But
did you know that I was a gamer when we first started talking? Because
yes.
Okay.
Real quick. Go ahead. I'll let you finish.
She didn't know that I knew who she was when. It's convoluted. We can go through that.
So he was playing a female blood elf paladin named Alice. I thought he was a girl in real life.
So why were you playing a female Talon?
When I met him, I had no idea that it was him.
My first character that I ever played was actually a troll hunter. And then my friends and I decided that we were going to start an all paladin guild. Okay, this is the quick version of it. Okay, so we're going to start an all paladin guild because in Warcraft, paladins can be all the things. They can be damage, they can be heals, they can be tank. So we don't need any other class. All paladins. We're going to be crusaders. It's going to be awesome, right? And so I hit the create a character, and it brings up a paladin, and it's a red-headed paladin that's a blood elf because at the time that was the only horde race that could play it, and it was a female, and it was a redhead, and it looked just Eliza. So I'm like, hey, Eliza, and off we went. That is how I got a female character.
Now, how your experience playing that female character? Did you ever have further opinions on the subject?
No, not really, because we were playing on a roleplay server, not originally, but eventually we moved to one. But I think everybody knew, hey, that's all I'll say. But it's really,
and that was your character.
Tamlin. Yeah, because what happened was we moved on to an RPPVP server, and because we were a small guild, because it's a very niche guild, all paladins, we formed a network with other guilds and created an alliance, and that was really cool for the server we were on. But I think that everybody knew that hey, Alice is really a dude. So is this other guy over here. That character right there is definitely a dude too. And it was never really an issue, but. No, but you know what? It did influence me in some way because it was an RP server. There was a lot of that fan fiction, right? And so, every once in a while people would write a story about their character. One of the first things I did when I wrote a story about that character was write that she had a boyfriend already because I didn't want to deal with the people flirting with me.
That's interesting that you already established that.
I was aware with it. I was aware that it was a possibility that could happen as I'm role-playing. I wanted to establish that she already had a love interest, and that if anybody came at me, like role-playing wise, like that at me, I'd be like, oh, I'm sorry. There's this other guy. Sorry.
Yep.
And I just made an alt character, and that's who it was. And
Do you think it's hard being a girl? Try being a noob. I've been trying to lose that title for 15 years now. All right, well, try being a female noob.
Or trying to be a female that is always called a noob, despite your accolades. Try that.
Because you totally know how that is.
I don't personally know, but I know it's there. Have you ever been in that situation, Kai?
Hold on, Tamlin, what?
Naya.
I do remember Naya.
Remember you talked to her a little bit later? Like, she was a raid lead, and then she stopped playing, and then she came back, and she had changed her attitude?
Do I really have to talk about her? She was so mean, she made me cry, and she's one of the very few reasons why I try really hard not to play with girls. Not even kidding.
Yeah, I just thought that I don't... On the server, right? The person who had server first 90 priest, 80 priest, 85 priest, her guild,
tons and tons of server firsts, and she was an absolute effing elitist.
But she changed, but not before she had influenced.
She changed after she started dating somebody and getting laid, and that's her words, not mine. Her words, not mine, because
that happens to people.
The girl now.
Unfortunately. Cradle Kitty says it best. Some girls are mean.
It's true. It's true. Girls are harder on girls, and it's extremely true. Girls are vicious to other girls.
Oh, good example, Tanlin. That comic I sent you.
Do you want me to bring it up?
Yeah. Go ahead and bring it up real quick. This comic that I had given Tanlin is about a voluptuous girl, if you will, that cosplays or wants to, is going to cosplay as Wonder Woman. Yeah. And
I love that comic. I know exactly what you're talking about too.
You know exactly, yeah.
I do.
And at the bottom, it's actually the girl who created the comic actually has a picture of herself under the comic. And
that's the one.
Yep. And I can read it out loud, everybody. But if you're reading at home, I'll just read it out loud because for people on the audio, they can't see it. So I'll read this out loud. So Tanlin, if you want to, do I still have it up? I do. I love geeky stuff, but I don't love to love it because that stuff and the men that love it love to make us women not love ourselves. I was only weary at first. Is it even possible to look like that? And she was looking at a poster of Wonder Woman. It didn't matter, right? I just wanted to show I was a fan. I was wrong. She went to Comic-Con. People were saying, put on some clothes, laughing at her fat ass whale. I can meet other fans. That'd be fun. So she starts to cry. And then they have another woman, a skinny woman, wearing a Wonder Woman costume. And this is people in the crowd, men specifically. Did you even read the comic, whore, slut? The voluptuous girl is, I'm not good enough. The skinny girl looks at her, she's not good enough. DC, there's a picture of a DC representative. We respect women. And then nerds, it's a picture of a large male who would just be a nerd. We respect women, and it's this scantily clad, half-naked Wonder Woman behind them. And she has the Wonder Woman costume hung up in the closet and says, is this what respect feels like? And the door's closed after that. And underneath is a picture of that girl, and she is in tears holding up her favorite comic book character, which is Wonder Woman. And, welcome to society, folks. This is this is the point we're trying to make that. And I think she's a very pretty girl, and it hurts me to see that she's crying. That she dressed up like that, and and her hopes were crushed because of the society and then the thoughts that we have to be in, and it sucks.
And you say it's society, and yes, it is society, and that's our whole point. But actually, no, that's half our point. Because as gamers and as this online medium that we're in, we hold ourselves to a higher standard. And I think that's why we want to discuss this. And Kyless has been pushing this for a very long time, and I thank her for doing that. Because it took us a long time to get to a point where we were finally comfortable in doing the episode. But as a gamer, I hold online games to a higher standard. It was that, kind of middle school, I was in my angst years, and it kind of helped me form opinions. And I think they're wider viewed opinions than I would have ever had if I never gamed. And I want to ask this question. And then I kind of want to shift focus from the negatives to how we can make things better. But is this just boys being boys?
I would never use that as an excuse or an explanation. Because just as boys being boys, you can teach boys that this is completely inappropriate, that this is just not the way that we treat other people, and curb their attitudes. I wouldn't let that fly if I heard that.
Yeah. Real quick, Beck in the chat said, gamers are gamers. Some gamers are terrible people because they have the mystery of the internet. With that comic, though, she was out in public, and that happened. So, not everybody uses mystery. Some people are just dicks. Unfortunate way of the world.
That comic hits me really hard on a personal level because I've actually been exactly in her shoes, 100%. Because everybody that I would ever cosplay, they're all these little itty bitty tiny skinny things. And I've gone to conventions dressed as them, and it is the hardest, cruelest, most ridiculous treatment, and I'm just a fan. I just enjoy it. I like that character. I want to be that character. She's strong and important, and I'm fat, and that's all I will ever be to some people, and that's what they see first, not what they see second, and it's not fair. But what else I want to add to that is that I feel the same way with every single video game on the market. I want to go to SOE Live and cosplay as a character from Landmark, and I don't think I can because I don't have the body to play any of them.
Yeah, and I feel the same way. I'm the same way as Kai. I'm a bigger dude, and I'm going to the gym and trying to lose weight before going SOE Live. And do I feel like I'm going to reach my goal? I don't know. Some days are tougher than others. There's days where I feel so defeated if I eat a cookie, and I was just like, and it sucks. It sucks. I feel like shit. I feel like absolute shit if I eat that cookie, and it sucks. And I don't want to, and it tears me down. It hurts. Because I'm trying to get in better shape, so when I meet all these people that I've become, all they've seen is this, and they haven't seen anything below.
Oh no, I'm terrified of what might happen at SOE Live this year because I was there last year, but we hadn't been on the show for very long. So the few people that did recognize me,
You were not on the first show.
Really, I wasn't on the first show, I know, but hadn't I been on the show by the time?
Shwena? No.
Okay,
No,
well,
no.
I still.
But you
people
were our
still
moderator.
recognized me. People still recognized me.
Yeah.
So.
There's a couple.
No,
go ahead.
I've tried saying I'm curvaceous. I've tried saying I'm plus size.
Yeah.
I'm big boned. I have tried all of those words, and what it really boils down to is earlier you were telling me that I was being upset about fat, and now you're telling me that I shouldn't call myself fat, that I should find another label for a word that bears a negative connotation. You can't have it both ways. Don't tell me the word fat is only honest and then say you shouldn't call yourself that. It doesn't work that way.
Brad,
Let me
a problem
just
with
say,
feminism,
fuck
too.
your beauty standards. I'm beautiful, and that's the truth. I don't care what other people think until they're fucking assholes. That's when it matters.
Listen, and it sucks, and I agree with her. I completely agree with her. I've been called fat, and it sucks because how do what am I supposed to say? I'm big boned, or like, no, fuck it, I'm fat. What do you want from me? Like, what? Like, at the end of the day, yeah. So what? Is it okay to be this way? Is it healthy? Hell no. Am I working on it? Yes. Get over it. But is it? Do I feel ashamed? Yeah. You know what? I had a hard life growing up, and sometimes, I had to learn how to cook for myself and do all that. It sucks. And some days are just easier to go through McDonald's and get a burger and spend $2.50 and get fucking slammed fries in your face.
Damn straight.
And then you just sit there on your couch and play video games and just eat that fucking burger and feel terrible about yourself. And that's how it is sometimes. And it is negative, and it sucks. And it sucks so much.
I've felt the same way many times. I stress eat too. So I'll sit there in my negative mood and I'll be like, well, fuck it. I'm going to go get that McDonald's because I already feel bad and I look like shit. So why the fuck not continue it?
Let me just say that it's attitude that makes you ugly and not the body that you happen to be lucky enough to reside in.
Yeah, for a second there, I thought you were labeling.
I
thought that was going
oh my god, what
an
an attack. Fuck.
Wow, what'd you do to make her match?
No, but you're right, Catalyst. Are you guys okay?
We're pulling out like the words fat and ugly and saying that there are people that are skinny that are also ugly and people that are fat that are also ugly, and I really feel like it's important to very specifically say that it's not about the body that you're in, it's about your mind. I have met the most unattractive people on site alone, and they speak and I am in love with them. They have this rhythm to their voice, the tone, their inflection that makes them beautiful. Their minds are amazing. They will never be ugly to me. And it's not fair that people can't see that. It's not right. So
I have
Before
to say,
we start saying people are ugly, it's their attitudes. It's not them. It's
Yeah.
not their body. It's their minds.
I have to say, I think this is like one of the shows I've spoken the most on.
Right.
And and I can say like not to say that Tanlin or Chewy or Cal or anybody, but out of all the people on the show, I think Kai Lest supports me the most. I think off the show, even as like she's my biggest fan, because she knows she kind of sees through like the jokes and everything with me, and she knows that I'm really a good, like deep down inside I'm a kind-hearted and sweet person. And I wanted to read something, and it's personal to me, and it's a Henry Rollins quote. If you guys know Black Flag or Henry Rollins Band, or Henry Rollins is a writer.
And if you don't, after the show, look him up.
You should.
Yeah, you should. Henry Rollins is completely amazing. He's one of the reasons why when I did weight training back in high school, he was one of the reasons I did weight training, because he always said that how he got through pain and depression was through the iron and lifting weights, and I'm trying to go back to that. And I wanted to read something. It's very personal to me, and back when I took my small hiatus, I had a girlfriend, and she had left me, and it was very, very crushing to me, because I felt that I wanted to be with that woman for the rest of my life, and it just didn't end up that way. So now, recently I found this Henry Rollins quote, and I want to read it out to everybody. And this is personally for me, deep down inside, how I feel, and I think Henry Rollins kind of explained it, and I couldn't have said it better myself. I want a soulmate who I can sit me down, shut me up, tell me 10 things I don't already know, and make me laugh. I don't care what you look like, just turn me on, and if you can do that, I will follow you on bloody stumps through the snow. I will nibble your mucklucks with my own teeth. I will do your windows. I will care about your feelings. Just have something in there. And I think that is one of the most beautiful things to me, and that's what I like. That's me. That is me. If I could drop Flatus for a second, that's Peter to a T, and that's who I am. Honestly, deep down inside, that's who I am. And I will no longer using an internet persona per se on the show and where I stream. I'm just going to be myself. And if you don't like it, and you're part of the Helsing Army, and you feel like that's like I should joke, I'm still going to make jokes. I'm a funny guy regardless. But if you don't like it, get the hell out of my army, because I don't want you there. End of story.
I have one last question, since we only have about 10 minutes left, and it has to do with how we can improve. Are you okay if we move in that direction, guys?
Yeah.
Sure.
So just as a minute recap, we've been discussing a lot more broad than just sexism when it comes to bullyism. But the main point of our show was to focus on how women are ousted in the gaming community. And we find this a problem because it is the gaming community. We know society, and there are always jerks and assholes. And there are always those trolls who are always going to be attention seekers. They might not even be doing it to be mean, other than the fact that they know they get attention when it happens. As gamers, we hold ourselves to a high standard, and as you can see, we're very socially aware people who, in the case of Flatus and Kailis, are not afraid to express themselves, even to you all over the internet, to whoever might be watching. And we wanted to do this show, especially Kailis. Actually, I'll let her discuss that in the conclusion tonight. But I want to shift focus, not from the negatives of all of this, not to the exact examples of where this is happening, because I think we've proven that. If not, check any of our support links that we've been posting throughout the night. There's a site that's called fatuglyOrslutty.com. That actually is an archival chronicle of experiences that women have in gaming, where men have said sexual comments or subjugated them to a certain role because they are women. It's an excellent site to check out, and if you don't believe that this exists, it's the first place to go to where you can see the problem that we're seeing. So this is how I want to phrase the rest of this little conversation, and that is, how as a community can we improve? And what have you seen in the community that has kind of allowed us to even discuss this topic, or brought us to a place where you want the community to go? And we're talking about the virtual community in general, gamers in general. Where can we start to help nullify this problem? Anyone? It's a tough question.
That is a very tough question. That was
It's a
the
very
first one
tough
out of my
question.
mouth too.
Obviously, for me, where do we start? For me, it's the reason why I was behind us doing the show from the. Well, I might have had my reservations, but in the end, I wanted to do it because I think that part of it is creating a dialogue and showing the examples that like we have of like this is what's going on in the gaming world, and if you have a problem with it, and you probably should have a problem with it, then you should talk about it. You should do something about it. And that's what I plan on continuing doing.
Yeah, I agree with Tamlin. I think that if we as a community want to move forward with getting out of this, and and not anybody here, is bad, but there are people out there, just knowing me, like when I've been called fag before, and I usually reply with, "I'm not a cigarette." That's how I usually return it back to them because it
Or a
confuses
bundle
them
of
sometimes.
sticks.
Yeah. So, but we just have to try it. Like, just keep in mind that things we say could hurt people. And go ahead.
I'm going to jump into 3 things real quick that Extra Credits brings up. They have 2 great videos. I posted the name in chat a couple times. I'll post it again. But they go over these kind of same subjects that we're discussing. And they said there's 3 main areas where they think we can change based on the literature that they read. The first is, and I want to get your opinion on this, is that we can already tell who's being muted. You have an ability to mute somebody, and there should be a way to get metrics from that. So should we see who's being muted more often, and should we kind of put them into a corner and take away their ability, or maybe give a rating system to where you can downvote members of the community throughout games, and because they're downvoted so much, they don't have the same kind of authority or the voice that everyone else has? That's one option. What do you guys think about that?
You want to know what I think is the better option? Don't be a dick. We shouldn't need a rating system. We shouldn't need to moderate other people.
I want to say yes,
all
we should
learn to be excellent to
but
each other.
That's too ideal. I want actual solutions from this discussion right now. I want to say, what can we do right now as producers of the content, as consumers of the content, and as the community who enjoys the comment and socializes with others? What can we do to help stop this?
Set the example.
Yeah, that's...
Call it out when it happens and set the example. Because downvoting people isn't going to work. Regulating people, it's not going to work. Because all you're doing is lowering yourself to their standards. Call them out. Tell them it's wrong. And ignore it from then on. Walk away and let it go. Be excellent and don't be that person. Who cares if it's the ideal solution? It's the only solution that would work.
Yeah, I don't think the rating system will work, because Crony even said it best. It's open to griefing and jealousy, because if you piss off even if you're just not trying to piss off somebody, they could still go in and say, like, I don't like Flatus because he's got a stupid face and a dumb butt, and like, you just downvote me for no reason. Like, just...
I love your stupid face!
And I think we just have to be able to call people out for things, and I think that's going to be the way to go.
Okay,
I hope he got the Doctor Who quote. Okay.
I'm getting it all. Don't worry. I also got the Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure quote. Don't worry. That was my first. That's actually the first rule in my guilds. Usually, is be excellent to each other. If you can't be excellent, be civil, and if you can't be civil, be offline. Those are my 3 rules.
Those are great.
Those are my 3 rules, and if you can't do, like, that's how I avoid people being dicks. Because if you're gonna be a dick, I don't want you even playing the game. Let's just go log on a different tune. Don't even bother playing in the guild.
I want to bring up. You said that that's not an ideal situation. I think you're addressing the wrong thing that I thought was ideal. I was saying you can't just ignore the problem. I think that is the best answer. I think it is pragmatic. I think it's real, and I think it can accomplish results. People will always be dicks. Yes, you can say that nothing can be done to solve the problem, but we can help alleviate the problem. As gamers and as opinion leaders, we can go into our communities, just like we're doing right now, and we can spread a message. that message, whether it's heard or not, will travel enough to a point where it's ingrained in your brain. Because a lot of what I'm not even going to go to it. That's just my main point that I want to talk about. It has to do with socialization. If you're the guy, if you're the buzz cut, if you're that person who is on your Twitch stream yelling at people and subjugating them, not just based off sex, but by race, by gender, by sexual orientation, I said gender twice, don't do it. That's my opinion. And I think that that's coming out of this episode is one of the most important things that we can spread to not only our community, but every community around. And I encourage everyone to go on Twitter tonight or any kind of social media you have, post your feelings and sum it up about how you think you could improve, how you think you could not only improve yourself, but how you can improve yourself to help others. Because every single one of us, and I see people calling us out in chat tonight, every single one of us is open to hypocrisy. We all have opinions that are not based on fact, because I don't believe that there is true fact. Everything is subjective and everything is based on perception. Our perceptions change. What makes us who we are is how we can consistently deal with that over time. None of us are perfect. We all have, things that are ironic about us. We'll say one thing and we'll do the others. Does that make us wrong? No, it does not. It makes us human. What makes us wrong is knowing that we do it for a long period of time and trying not to fix it. So that's all I want to say going forward. And that's my message for you all. I guess we can all kind of end with that sort of conclusion real quick if you'd like. And
Tamlin has more to say. He wants 5 minutes at the end.
When this topic is wrapped up.
When this topic's dropped up. But if you guys want to conclude real quick, and then we can lead into that.
Yeah, I'll go ahead. I agree with Chad. I mean, just Chewy. By all means, please, if one person, if we've changed anybody's mind tonight, please go out there. If you've gone back and thought you know what, I said something to that one person, just, if you've done it, it happens. We're not perfect. We say things we don't mean sometimes, but you got to remember, words can be forgiven but never forgotten. If you've thought you've hurt somebody, you've said something wrong to them, just go out there and try to make amends for it. Spread good tidings from here on out, and just try to be good people. Don't try to be perfect. It's impossible to be perfect, but just try your best to spread a good message. And if, like I said, if you stream, spread it on your stream. If you're big on Twitter, do that, because there's tons of people with a lot of viewers that can spread a good message. And you guys, I know we keep saying you guys, but everybody in chat, these people in chat right here, all of you, beautiful people, just go out there and spread a word, and just spread that, make a movement out of it. Why can't we start that movement? Why can't we start a movement in gaming that pushes away from all of this and start something else and see where it carries? Even if it spreads to 100 people, there's 100 more people in this world that are better for it.
And it's already been started. There are many people who speak about this issue. Like I said, we're going to post sources for some of the background stuff, and we encourage you to go out and learn more, because it goes a lot more in depth than we're discussing here tonight.
Yeah.
Clearly, to be really honest, the length of the showtime that we have really isn't enough to appropriately touch on the subject, even remotely. But it was close to me and important to me. And they all got to pick topics, and this was my topic. And honestly, it was kind of a fight to get everybody to finally agree on it. But it was really important to finally agree on doing it. And no, I didn't get to cover everything that I wanted to. And no, this did not do the topic justice in a long shot. But it was still important to bring it up.
Absolutely. And we thank you all for listening, and we thank you for your continued discussion and chat over this subject. You all bring up a lot of great points that help us in our conversation. And we love seeing you guys discuss the same things that we're discussing. So thank you for joining us.
Absolutely.
Tamlin, do you want to give a little information about our next episode?
Yes, but I think it's important to talk about our next episode because I don't want to be accused of spoiling anything. Our next episode, we're going to go back to the EverQuest Next lore. If you haven't been following along, and I don't know why you wouldn't have, but EverQuest Next has been releasing a whole bunch of lore ebooks. They're available for free at the EverQuest Next website. We're going to talk about it. I mean, there's like 8, 9 of them out so far, and I don't want to be accused of spoilers. So please, please, please read them so that you can come and watch the show and we can talk about them, about what we think, where we think these characters are going, and all of that. So again, our next episode, 2 weeks from today, 7 Pacific, 10 Eastern, will be will be about the lore of EverQuest Next.
And it will be safe for work. Well, maybe.
It will be safe for work. It will be...
Depends. I don't know if our episodes are ever safe for work, but
I don't know.
We'll go with it.
They're mostly good. And again, we want to make an interactive, engaging show as much as we can. So if you have questions, if you have feedback, our email is everquest.show@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you. If we get enough feedback in our email about important questions about topics, we'll bring it up. We're also we try to present ourselves as a community focused show. If you want to come on, again, it's best to email the everquest.show@gmail.com if I did that correct again. But email us there if you would like to come on and hang out with us during our show.
Hell yeah, and new ebook coming out next week, so we'll be able to include that in our discussion, because Pentapod just said so, and we thank you for that.
So add it to your reading list. I know I have a 3-day weekend next week. If there is any ebooks that I haven't read by then, right on my Kindle, I'm gonna
He's been saying this for like 3 months, so whatever.
Hey, I read the first
I'll see what I can do. Yeah. Well, I guess that concludes episode 17 of the EverCast show. We're going to do something special for our 20th. Oh, also, we're over 1,000 followers on Twitter, so now that we promised... do the keys count? The keys count, right? Yeah, I think
we
did.
That was
4 beta keys.
And those were right after we hit 1,000.
Yeah, that's true. That's fair. I still have 1 extra key, too, so maybe we can do something special.
I have 2 extra keys? I have 2 extra keys.
Nice,
Maybe.
nice.
What? Oh, hey, I know. Here. I got one. Anybody listening to the MP3 version of this on Stitcher? You say, hey, listen. You thumbs us up on Stitcher, and you say, I listened on Stitcher. Chat people, I'm watching you. But if you're like somebody, just go ahead and email us at evercast.show@gmail.com. And send us a screen cap somehow with your phone, or just show us that you listened on Stitcher. Or tweet us. You can tweet us from Stitcher and say, hey, listen, I listened on Stitcher at EverCast Show. Do that, I will send you a key. I only got 2. First come, first serve on that. So 1 person gets a key. First person to do it gets the key. So, get on that. Special for you MP3 version of listeners.
Well, Kyles, do you want to camp us out since this was your topical tonight?
Woohoo! All right. Have a good night, guys, and thanks again for joining us for this rather potentially intense and NSFW and fun stuffs. Camping in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.